So, good evening. Hi, ladies, and welcome. So, we're here this evening doing our highly anticipated, because I know I've been waiting and I'm so excited because I have my list of questions, Millennials versus real estate session with our very own real estate pro, Peach State real estate CEO. Janine, she's here. She's going to help us out. I have a list of questions. I think I do have a list of questions. I have my notebook. I'm ready. I know she has a PowerPoint presentation that she's prepared for us, which is going to be super helpful. And then we'll do the questions at the end. So I'm ready to just have her take it away, if you don't mind, girl.
All right, guys. My name is Janine Houston. Like she said, I am the CEO of Peach State Real Estate. I am under the wonderful brokerage of Keller Williams Atlanta Classic. We are located in the Camp Creek office, so we're very close to the south side, south side, hey, of Atlanta, if you know anybody over that way. So let's get this thing started. My first question is, whose mortgage do you want to pay? So whether you're renting or you're owning a home, you're going to pay a mortgage. But if you're renting, you're just not paying your mortgage. You're paying somebody else's. So is your landlord requiring you to pay more of their mortgage each year? I'm sure, because we have a thing called rent increase every year. So 60%. There was a 60% rent increase just last year versus a 45% of home price increase of the last year. Meaning at the end of 5 years of you paying about $2,700 a month in rent, you inquire $0 of equity, versus after the end of paying your own mortgage of, which will probably be even less, of say on this house on the right of $2,500 a month, you're going to at least inquire about $100K worth of equity. Now that equity could be used for emergency expenses, college expenses, wedding and business funds, whatever you want to use it for. But the point is, you want to be able to, we want to be able to pay or have something that you can show for after paying this much a month for 5 years. So I just like to talk about that. And that's just an option of which option helps you build generational wealth more. To me, the mortgage side does. But hey, we have a lot of renters here, so I'm not going to talk about that. We're just going to try to get them on that other side. So why should millennials buy a home that has higher mortgage rates? This is the question that we know as realtors we're getting, why should I even consider buying a house right now when mortgage rates are high? Because for one, there is a bunch of different options that I'm going to cover of how we can do something about those increased interest rates. Another thing, our interest rates are still lower than they were pre-COVID. Everybody has gotten that COVID hype, we was all sucking the COVID juice. We was all doing it. Interest rates were 2%, and now they're at about 7.8%. And I get it. I definitely get it. But it was due to COVID. It was due to whatever pandemic we had going on. We will not see those rates again. So I really want millennials to try to get that in their head, that this is the new normal. This is what it was before pandemic, and this is what it is after pandemic. So this is just the normal. It's not like, oh, there's a super increase in interest rates. Like I said, about when your parents bought homes, I think interest rates then were at least 12% or more. So we're still paying lower interest rates than they were, back then. But besides that, reasons why you want to buy right now, investment potentials. Real estate historically has proven to be a solid term for investments. Now, with the interest rates, there are still so many options about what you can do with those mortgage rates. Okay, so your property value generally is going to increase. Even with higher mortgage rates, the potential for the property value appreciation will still happen. Okay, you get stable housing costs, meaning you don't have to worry about your mortgage increasing year over year over year. And versus like your rent. You know your rent is going to increase year every year. You can have a steady, stable housing cost to know, okay, I'm going to be paying this month for the next 30 years or until you sell the house. You know what I'm saying? Also, you're building equity. I'm going to talk a little bit more about equity a little bit later, but building equity is basically, like I said, once you're ready to use those funds for you starting a business, you want to buy another house, you want to pay for college, home improvement options. Building equity, it helps you to do any of those things, okay? And personalization and stability. Basically, it offers the opportunity for personalization of your living space. If you want to, like I said, doing improvements. If you don't live in an HOA community and they don't mind you building a pool in the backyard, pull that equity out of your home and go build your pool, okay? And that way you don't have to worry about, sharing the pool with other people. So some of the fears of millennials in real estate, let's talk about that. Affordability. You feel like you can't afford. The thing is, you have to speak with a realtor to know that we go based off of what you can afford, not what you can't. So we go based off of setting a budget, discussing your budget and your financial goals. Everybody cannot afford $1 billion house. I know I can't, and I wish I could, but I bought my house off of what I could afford. I set a budget. I knew how much I wanted to pay a month, and I knew how much I could afford a month. And that's how I went about the sales price of the house that I was able to get. So you always want to make sure that you're dealing with a realtor who goes based off of your budget, based off of what you can afford. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to be paying all outside of, what I can afford. This is too much a month. No, you want to set it straight that this is what I can afford a month and this is what I want to pay a month. Also, job stability. So that is a big fear when it comes to millennials. A lot of us kind of, we're on the whole path of, if this job ain't treating me right, I'll get on, blah, blah, blah. I ain't staying with no job. So that is an issue because when it comes to buying a house, they do want you to have at least 2 years of tax returns. And that means a steady income for those 2 years. And they want you to be in the same, like if you switch jobs, it's okay to switch jobs, but they want you to be in the same industry. So they don't really, so if you're trying to get a loan, lenders don't really like to see you're going from, oh, I was in healthcare and now I'm switching to self-employment. They want to see that steady job stability in order to, want to give you that loan so you can buy that house. Another reason millennials are fearing real estate is because they not married. They haven't settled down yet. They want to settle down and wait to buy the house for their husband, child. I get that too. But let me tell you something. I went on ahead and bought my house before I got engaged. But the benefit of that is now that I'm about to get married in 4 months, me and my husband can both go in and buy a bigger house and rent this house out for passive income. Now we can be paying some of our mortgage with the rent that we're getting from this place. So many things, so many options. Millennials who overcame their fear. So these are just a few of my millennial clients that I wanted to highlight who have basically overcame their fear in buying real estate. They were all under 30. Actually, the one who increased her net worth of 100K was about 24 when she came to me and bought a house. And within 2 years of her buying her house and then selling it, she was able to increase her net worth for about $100,000. Okay. So this is something that she could not have done if she was renting. Just 2 years of paying. I think she definitely bought in 2020 when her interest rates were a little bit low. So her, mortgage payments were about 12 maybe or something a month. So they were pretty low. So when she was able to sell her house, it was, in that big time where a lot of people were buying, and she was able to get so much bang for her buck that she was able to just, she didn't have to come out of pocket for repairs, because it was a brand new construction house when she already bought it. So she didn't have to come out with any repairs or anything like that. And she was able to walk away from the closing table with a lot of money. A lot of money. Okay. So these are just a few of my clients who've been able to do that. And you can see the time frame that it kind of is taking them to increase that net worth. Honestly, homes are appreciated between 5 to 8% in Atlanta every year. So if you bought a home right now at 350K, it's going to appreciate at least 5 to 8% within that next year. So the clients in the middle, within just 11 months, not even a whole year, their home has already appreciated $40,000. So if they wanted to take out any of that equity and use it for whatever they wanted to, they could. If they wanted to purchase another property, like I said, talked about with passive income, getting another property in order to rent it out or something like that, they could also do that and use that with their equity. So it's just a lot of different options you can do and reasons why you want to go ahead and purchase. So imagine your tenant paying your mortgage. Now, this is what I was talking about when I said getting that passive income. So has anybody heard of a triplex or a duplex? Anybody know what a triplex or a duplex is?
Yes.
I've heard of those. Okay. So basically, you can rent out a unit in your house. So it's really just like a space or sometimes a room in one of these huge houses, and your tenant will pay, your monthly rent just to be staying in that room. So for this one on the left, I think this home is about $450,000, and the monthly mortgage for this one would be about $3,000. So if you're getting one tenant to pay for a room that's $1,200, and then say you're getting another tenant to pay for the other room for another $1,200, so that's $2,400. And let's see, your rent is about $3,000 a month. That's only $600 a month you paying to live there. They're paying most of the rent. And if I was you, I would get them to pay your utilities too. Get them to pay the water bill. Get them to pay internet and things like that, because I'm sure they're going to use it. The same way with this duplex on the right. The rental rate for this one is about $1,600 a month. Now, the average rental property in Atlanta is about $1,800 a month, and that's for apartments. For a one-bedroom apartment, 969 square feet. These both are over 2,000 square feet. Just weigh out your options a little bit when it comes to renting. Okay. I would like for you guys to screenshot or try to get this QR code. So if you are interested in down payment assistance, so I know a lot of people say that they can't buy right now because they don't have the down payment. So we do have a lot of different down payment assistance programs that helps you with your down payment. If you're a nurse, teacher, police officer, we have programs for people like that to help you with your down payment. That way you can come to the table with no money down. No money down. Now, there are some, of course, requirements for being able to qualify for these programs, such as some of them you have to have at least a 620 credit score. No income is required for some of them, but you do need to have enough income to meet the program with your DTI, which is your income ratio. So you have to have enough income to fulfill any debt you may have. And debt could be credit cards, student loans, child support, anything. They want to just make sure you have enough debt to accumulate enough income to accumulate all of this debt. But you can definitely qualify for down payment assistance and come to the table with nothing. That's a great option to have if anybody's looking to do that. Okay. All right.
Well, that was great.
Would I move too fast or how was it?
No, well, not for me. I think it was good. We're definitely gonna open the floor for questions. I'm gonna start off with a question because I know I have one up. It's been burning for me.
Okay.
Um, I want to know. This is my first question, of course, and we'll go like around to anybody who has one. Just let me know. But what? Wait, I have my list. Hello, remember I told you guys about my list. Where is the student loan question? I lost it. Oh, okay. So do you have any, yeah, do you have any tips, or do student loans have any effect or other debts on someone's ability to buy a home, like student loan debt just
Student
overall?
because it just came back in October or September, they are now back in effect. Now, let me tell you what I did because I bought my house when student loans was in effect as well. I wasn't paying them student loans, but when it came time for me to buy my house, I got on a payment plan with my student loans. So they want to see when you're getting ready to purchase, they just want to see that you have a payment plan in process to be able to pay it. Now, what that means is you can always get a repayment letter from your student loan, email them and message them, say, hey, I'm getting ready to purchase. Can I get a repayment plan for my student loans? They'll tell you how much a month, based on income driven, of course, how much a month you need to pay. And that's what the lender is looking for when they give you this loan to purchase a house. They just need to know that how much a month it is so they can add that to your debt, if that makes sense. Because remember, I told you about debt to income ratio. Your income has to outweigh your debt. So they need to accumulate all the debt that you have and to make sure you saying you make $80,000 a year. Okay. So I want to make sure that every month you can afford this mortgage, you can afford these credit cards that you got, you can afford this student loan that you got, or this child support that you got. We're going to put all this debt together. And as long as your income a month subsidize this, you're good.
Does anybody else have any questions that they wanted to ask?
I have a quick
Yes.
question for Leah.
Okay.
What
Go,
happened
go,
then?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Who's going first? Go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I actually own my whole home. And when we were talking about equity, how fast can I take equity and how do I know where to look for to see if it built?
Realtor. But yes, so there's a way that we are able to look and see how much your equity is based off of how much homes are selling, for one, in your neighborhood or around your area. And we also look at your mortgage statement and how much you bought your home for. Now, let's say you're looking to do, okay, I'm gonna just give y'all a little cheat. Let's say you're looking to, because I'm in a process right now. Say you're looking to buy and fix a flip, do a fix flip, right? You can go to the bank and get what's called a HELOC. A HELOC is a home equity line of credit. That way you're able to see how the bank takes out and see how much your equity is in your home, and they will give you that as a credit, and you're able to do whatever you want to do with it. If you wanted to, like I want to do, fix and flip, buy properties around Atlanta, fix them up, and sell them and things like that. If you wanted to, like I also said, wedding fund, business, whatever you want to do with it. But that's a way that you can kind of go in that your equity and see how much you have.
Sean, that's you.
Yes. Okay. So my question to you is, I'm in Jersey and I feel like it's Atlanta. I don't even try to look down there because it just makes me upset because I think that the options, the quality of houses you're getting in Atlanta is not, the same at all that what you're getting for the same price range in Jersey. So during COVID, I was actively trying to purchase. And it was during that time where the outbidding was just out of control. Like, go see a house, put a bid in, and somebody's bidding $20,000, $30,000 more. Wanted to ask you, what have you seen? Have you seen like that continuing in your work? Has it slowed down? Is it the same?
So right now, I would like to say that we're in an equal market between a buyer and sellers, but I can't say that because we still have a low supply of homes. But the reason why I say maybe an equal, because buyers are now able to go in an offer with, oh, I want this fixed. I want this done. I want this done. We wasn't seeing that during the pandemic. If you didn't like the house as it came, you wasn't even going to be considered. But
Yep.
now we're back to being able to offer. I mean, we're back to being able to ask for closing costs. You
Okay.
always notice the change when you look at these new construction homes. New construction builders are offering 4.99% and 5.5% interest rates, and they're offering $20,000 towards closing costs. This means they are looking for people to buy these houses. In 2020, when the pandemic was going on, we was offering on new construction. You had never heard of people bidding on new construction houses. Like once you came in, you saw the lot that you wanted, you was able to write a contract on it. But now we're back to a little way before pre-pandemic, and we're back to buyers being able to ask what they want as well.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like that's encouraging because I feel like during that time,
Yeah, it was rough.
it was really it was defeating, right? Because I'm going house to house, I'm putting bids, I'm running the numbers. Like, so I feel like that's really good to hear. And I guess just, I think I've been like, I'm on this topic and I've been watching a lot of the stuff. And I think a lot of us are waiting for some type of like drop or crash or whatever it is that we're all looking for that is not potentially going to happen. So in your opinion, like, yeah, like, how do you feel about
the issue is the
timeline?
only thing that is going to happen is home prices are going to continue to increase.
Okay. Yeah.
They're going to increase. Even if rates are fluctuating, but they're still fluctuating between that 7 and 8%. We're not seeing it drop down there. Like everybody just get that out. It's not ours to go back down. But it's not going back down. It's fluctuating between 7 and 8%. It's been doing that all year. Okay. But the only thing that's going to happen is home prices are going to increase. Like I said, they're increasing about 45% every year. So you're just if you continue to wait, you're just continuously knocking yourself out the game. If you couldn't afford this year, it's going to be even harder for you to afford next year with home prices, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that does. Thank you.
You mentioned something that actually I have one of my list of questions. But the concept of the seller's market versus a buyer's market, because you just like real simple, like kindergarten level break it down just so that I could be able to tell the difference and how it affects, shopping in the housing market.
Simplest ways. Seller's market was pandemic, buyer's market was the crash. Okay. When the market crashed in 2008 and you couldn't pay somebody to get your house and people was able to buy for cheap, that was a buyer's market. Seller's market was pandemic. They were selling homes that were not worth even $300,000, probably for $400,000. That is a seller's market. There wasn't a such thing as an overpriced house during the pandemic because everybody was looking to buy. Everybody was looking to buy. They was taking anything. I think you on mute.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, I think I'm trying to, this is not a question, this is a confession. I just think I'm trying to I'm trying to forgive myself because I feel like the people who made their moves right before like that time frame was just a great time frame, right? And it's like you're saying, like, we need to like let go. And it's very hard to let go. And for me to like believe that people are out here and got houses at that time, at that space. And now so I feel like there is this space of like how internally, right, accepting that I'm going to get a house, which is probably going to need a lot of renovation, most likely, right? Because the new construction in Jersey, we're talking about 700s. Like there's really not new construction that's,
Okay.
I feel like, in an affordable price in Jersey, unless, like I said, you're giving, yeah, so it's trying to like rationalize, like, okay, I'm gonna have to go in here and do so much work in this house, like, and just acceptance is what I'm trying to say is very hard. I feel like personally in Jersey, I'm sure in Atlanta too, in some ways.
Yeah, and a lot of what's happening now, a lot though, which I'm proud of these buyers, the ones who bought back in pre-pandemic, they're selling now though. They're cashing out on all of that equity and they're buying, bigger homes. They have that money now from all that money that they gained for buying at that time, and they're buying again. But they need help too, because they have a hard time coming to terms with the interest rates, of course. But like I said, we have so many options with interest rates. I can't speak on, of course, I can't speak on Jersey's market, but Atlanta, the home, like new construction, they're doing a lot with this whole going ahead and having new construction homes with 4.99% interest rate and 5% interest rate. But they're also, lenders are also doing a thing which is called a buy down. Do y'all do buy downs? Have y'all heard of buy downs?
I haven't.
Okay, so there's a such thing as a 2-1 buy down. Ask your lender about it. So a 2-1 buy down is where you're able to buy your rate down 2%. So if it's 7% now, you can buy your rate down to about 5%. But then each year it goes back up 1%. So the next year it'll go back up to 6%. Then the year after that it'll go up to 7%. What your hope is by the time, let's say next year when it's about to go up to 6% or something like that, let's say interest rates have dropped. That way you can refinance and keep that new interest rate. But it allows you kind of like some wiggle room to face up to that, new interest rate of 7% if you're not ready for that.
I had a question on that. So if you don't do refinancing, can it exceed the interest rate of 7%?
No, it's just 2. So it's just, you're just buying it down 2% from wherever the interest rates was then.
Okay. I had a question. If Chan is
Yes, I'm sorry. It's all yours, Lexi. Done.
how do you feel about those housing programs like NACA and things that are similar to NACA?
NACA is okay for those who need it. I prefer other down payment assistance programs. And the reason why is NACA kind of holds up your transaction a little. So versus when you just get in a regular down payment, doing a regular down payment assistance program, when you're going through their transaction, they're just still trying to verify everything and your transaction is still closed on time. NACA is so backed up. I've heard clients are 3 months, like a closing that was supposed to take place within 30 days is taking like 3 months. And that's when sellers are looking at your pre-approval, like, because, sending your offer, the seller gets to see your pre-approval, they get to see your lender, everything. So they'll know that you're in a NACA program. And if their realtor is like, oh no, NACA programs, we gonna be too late for closing, they could not go with your offer. So that's all I can say about NACA. Like the program is so backed up, it's just taking way longer than it's supposed to close on houses with NACA.
Good to know, because I know that they help lower the interest rate a bit. Are there any other similar, not just closing cost assistance, but any other programs like that where there's lesser interest rates within the program?
You can.
I got it. Okay.
This one for the down payment assistance program, far as lowering the interest rates. Get ready to speak to a lender. We'll talk about a buy down. What's called a buy down, and that's where even if you ask the seller for money towards closing costs, you can use that money towards closing costs to buy down the rate. you don't have to use it all for just closing costs. You can use it to buy down your rate as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Welcome.
These are great questions. I feel like my notebook is definitely getting you laughing. I'm serious. Does anybody else have?
Stuff. Let me
I don't want to stay. I do have another question. And this is just random. Like, I just wanted to know, if like people that are now working from home, does that have any change or on housing preferences as far as how they have to now adapt to like what their living situations are?
No, I love my remote people. I've had a lot of clients who have actually done remote who have moved from New York and California because the home prices were so expensive up there. And of course, they are still getting their California or New York pay. And they move down here and they're able to buy, so much for, compared to what they would have been able to buy in their own home state. So I say yes for the remote people. Like, you're able to, long as they can verify your income and verify employment, you can go wherever you want to go.
For sure. Does anybody have anything else? I'm getting the insight is great.
So I do want to show a little something from my website in case you guys ever are just wondering, what can I afford or what can I buy? So let me
Drop those gems, girl.
Yeah. I'm gonna help my people as much as
Help us, girl, help us. And then I do have another question. That home equity, HLOC, does HELOC,
mm-hmm.
does that also like show you what you could potentially do to your house that would bring more equity? Like if you can you plug in like what if I did this? How much would it be type of thing?
For one, you don't want to for me, you don't want the bank too much in your business. So you
Copy.
don't want to tell the bank exactly what you want the money for and things like that. I would just always say, hey, I'm looking to do some home improvement. I want to see how much my HELOC is or how much I can get, out of my home and things like that. That's just me because the bank start, because what you don't want them to do is to do a high, because they do have a payment plan with that as well. You don't want them to give you like a high payment plan for no reason, So I just say don't tell the bank all your business. So this is a mortgage calculator from my website. You're more than welcome to go to it and basically see how much you can afford. So let's say, let me move this out the way. Let's say I wanted to purchase a $300,000 house. And you only wanted to put 3.5% down. And let's go with the interest rate being 7.5%. I said 35. We know we're not doing that much. Is my dot not working? Okay, we're going to go with 3% since my dot not working. You can see how much your estimated monthly mortgage would be. Okay. Now, if you wanted to play around with this and say, well, what if this is just me putting $9,000 down. I got a little bit of money, saved up. What if I can put down 18,000 down? You'll see how much that changes your estimated monthly payment, even with that interest rate still being high. So there's another option. If you do have the money, you can always put more down in order to bring down that monthly payment. Okay. So just in case you guys ever wanted to see, how much you can afford or how much you wanted to come with your monthly payment, how much you wanted to pay a month, this is what you can take to your lender or your realtor and say, hey, I calculated this is maybe how much I wanted to put down. I see homes that I like in the 300,000 range, and this is how much I wanted to pay a month, and then we can do it based off of that.
this is helpful, but it's also discouraging for someone like me and Sean because we're in New Jersey and we see like there's no way we're getting a $300,000 house. And then just to see the difference between a 3% interest rate versus a 7. Gotta accept the terms, but it's still like frustrating.
I mean, yeah, it sucks that this is what they was getting during pandemic and this is what they was paying for a $300,000 house. But I mean, then again, back in the day when your parents was paying 12%, this is how much they was paying for a $300,000 house too. So, you know, you gotta go with the good.
Yeah. My dad doesn't let that go. Like he told me that he bought for 19%.
Yeah,
That's what
now that was the thing. The home prices were way cheap back then. So that was the thing that saved them. The home prices were
exactly
cheap. So you see
I'm
the
like,
home
Dad.
to that price.
Yeah, but yeah, like Lexi said, like that's more of like same thing. Like every time I see this calculator, I'm like, yo, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know. It's kind of like what is the option? You know what I mean? Like especially in Jersey, like it's pretty much you would have to move super far to even feel like, you know, or come to Atlanta, right? Love Atlanta.
You're right.
Right, Lexi, you can probably attest this. But then it's like, you know, you got to put more than 3.5 because there's no way that mortgage price is going to work out, right? So then now it's like, so I don't know, it's just try, but then like I just feel like you're saying, we're just gonna be stuck in that cycle. Like that's not gonna end. So when am I gonna pull the plug? Like that is, I don't know. It's just a tough thing to figure out.
Conversation with yourself about your budget and your affordability. You have to be like, okay, this is how much I can afford, and this is what I'm going with.
I know, but I don't like what I can afford.
Yeah,
see? So that
it's like there's no 300 houses, so you got to start looking at 5 and 6, and then you're like, crap, I have to add this interest rate in there for my monthly payment.
Now let me say this: your first home does not have to be your last home.
This is not the crowd, girl. That's not. They don't hear that. I'm telling you right now. These two, they don't hear that.
No dream homes. Y'all are just dream homes. Y'all don't think
listen
could be the passive income that gets you to the dream home.
Jersey don't allow you to have that same gift. That same thought process is like you have to put that. Aaliyah can attest because Aaliyah is also from Jersey and moved down to Atlanta. Now has a mansion down there.
But I also did have my starter home as well in Latonia. And then
but Latonia is Georgia. But that's still Georgia.
Saying, I was just agreeing with saying that your starter home doesn't have to be your forever home because we got into what we could afford right before we moved in January 2020 to our first home. So right before the pandemic. So we just got in and then we knew we didn't want to stay there. And then, you know, we moved 2022. So yeah, your first home doesn't have to be, you know, get it nice enough that you can live in it and then set your sight on the next thing. And thank you for shouting out my house.
Oh, mansion, okay.
Yeah. No, and I definitely agree. I think I think I've come to terms with that, but like I've definitely lowered the scale. I had my whole life got checked, right? So we're good. The scale has gone down. But what I'm saying is like I'm saying townhouse. I'm looking for a townhouse. That's where I am. But even a townhouse, we're talking about I gotta redo the whole townhouse. That is just hard to like. That's hard to understand at like 450,000, I gotta redo it.
Yeah. And I'm aligned with you because that is why I moved to Georgia when we knew we wanted to buy a house. So I get it.
Right. Yeah.
So does Jersey have construction loans that you can tie in with your regular loan? Georgia does.
That's a great question. I don't know.
What is a construction loan?
Yeah.
A construction loan.
Who do you know?
It's a loan that you can get that helps you basically fix up the house. Okay, because I don't know, for a lot of people thought that when you buy a house, the loan that you get, if you don't use the whole loan amount, you can use the rest of it to fix up the house. That's not true. You have to get a completely separate loan for that. And it's called a construction loan. I know that Georgia has one that you can tie in with your loan, that you can add on in order to, fix up the house. Or if it's kind of like not a rundown, but, just need, HVAC, roof, or whatever, like electrical problems going on, you can use that construction loan to kind of fix that house up. So ask your lenders about that one in Jersey.
I wasn't here for the full time in the beginning. So how do you figure out the best lender? Like, you just have to go to your bank and then start it that way? What's a good way of picking
a bank is a good way to get your loan. I don't do banks just because usually the banks don't have the best programs, but of course your bank has your whole banking history. So, they might offer you sometimes a little bit lower interest rates, but they sometimes don't have the down payment assistance programs. They may not have the buy down rate programs and things like that. That's why I always recommend private mortgage lenders and things like that. Usually I always recommend my clients who their lender should be. For instance, if we're going to do new construction, I always recommend the lenders that are preferred lenders of that new construction community, because that's how I get my clients the incentives of the community. You have to use the preferred lenders. So we weigh out, they'll give a list of, different lenders, and your realtor is the one who's able to kind of weigh out which lender that they feel like you should use. And then I always recommend at least talking to 3 different lenders, because personality does matter. Who answers the phone, who's going to email you back, who's not going to play with your time. You definitely want to know those things as well.
Sorry, I was taking notes, girl, because I'm like, interview your lender. Shit is up to you. Make your choices, okay? Like, just making sure I get my last little tidbits. We have a couple more minutes. Does anybody have we have time for maybe one more question before we wrap up? Anybody, ladies? Y'all feeling good? We gonna do this again, clearly, because we all have questions. This was great. Janine, call me love a friend. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for co-hosting with me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you letting us pluck your brain, because we have some questions, and sharing your knowledge with us is really dope. For those of you that aren't a part of the community, the link is in there. I want to thank you guys for joining. My name is Danny with Connected Minds Community. And then for you guys that joined from the community, thank you again for keeping in touch. And I have all the socials in there. If you are not following Janina, her Peach J Real Estate, hello, you need to. So her plug is in there. The website.
Purchase in Georgia. Let them call me.
Girl, I'm on them. Don't even worry. We're going to get them down here, okay? I'm applying pressure. All the socials are on there, and also her website. So the mortgage calculator access is there too, if you guys were looking to play around with that or plug in with that. And then again, if you want the QR code for the mortgage assist programs, let me know, and then I can shoot that over to Janina, and she can get the codes over to you if you weren't able to do a screenshot. And that's it for me. Do you have anything you want to say?
I enjoyed myself. I was a little nervous in the beginning, guys, but oh my God, y'all are very relaxed. I like that. Thank you. This is a really great community. I love it. Like, what was I nervous for?
Girl, what were you nervous for? We love the community. This is the best place.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, thank you so much. This was great. Thank you.
All good questions.
This was great. No, this was dope, for real. And we're going to definitely do it again. And everybody else, just, stay tuned, because we got more coming. Next week, we have Virtual Vogue with Ambriana. She's going to do some fall fashion stuff, and it's going to be cool. We're keeping November going.
All right, let's go.